these things because they have bonds. This is why you can't, because everything's a tax issue, but you can't impose it on whoever's in the court because these public figures have bonds. So you can't sue them. Everybody, well, I'm gonna sue them. You have to do a lien process. There's no other way. You dig what I'm saying? They're gonna do what they gonna do what they want. This is why y'all never see remedy. I hope this is making sense, man. I'm breaking it down. I'm gonna do a class on this stuff sooner or later because I'm working on the books. It don't take me long. They claim you as really farm property, and they're utilizing 7 USC 136 subsection D. The term animal means all vertebrate and invertebrate species, including but not limited to man and other mammals, birds, fish, and shellfish. Ain't my stuff, man. And just remember the last clause was in gold. I mean, we was under a gold act, but they wasn't utilizing gold. They was using silver and silver certificates. Remember these things, all right? And this is where they get the term dollar from. Dollar is a measurement, okay? It was a measurement of silver. It was like 23, 26 grams, something like that. I'm not going to speak on it because, I'm not a professional like that. But a dollar is a form of measurement, so this is how they stay lawful, and it makes it a futures contract for when they do have gold and silver again. Anytime you do contracts with these people, I'm showing you how they get around the loopholes of the law and stay lawful and legal. Because now silver and gold is a commodity. I need y'all to understand this. They tell you they'll pay you, and everything's payable upon maturity date. There's a lot of different things, man, how they get you, but they stay lawful at all times. They stay legal at all times. And it's just how you respond, how you're responding to these things because you don't know the true private knowledge. Private knowledge or private education, you got to get around certain people, all right? The CPAs don't know this. I'll blow their minds. But some of them might say you're crazy or whatever, but some of them don't really do that. They understand it like you're right, but you play with fire, you get burnt, da-da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? Not everybody wants to deal with it. You got to find certain ones. But the way things are going down is, depending on how you respond, it's going to become a debit or credit. Understand, bills are payable, and they're entered to the accounts payable category of a business general ledger as credit. So bills, they're called dollar bills. Let me say it again, dollar bills. So the more bills you have, whether it's a dollar bill or a utility bill, if you're not claiming them correctly as credit, then it's going on their ledger as credit. All right? On yours, it's going as account payable, looking at like a negative. So the more bills you hand out, the more accounts payable you have. I hope that makes sense. A bill is always a negative. I give you a bill, you owe me. But their bills is showing you how much credit they utilize of yours. But you're not claiming it correctly. You're giving them more bills. You gotta understand, a dollar bill is a promissory note. Let me see if I can find that definition, because that would make a lot of sense for y'all, I think, the way I just explained it. So a Federal Reserve note is a promissory note that does not pay any interest. It is defined as such because it states that the note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, indicating a promise for the government and private citizens to accept and honor the note as legal tender. It's a note issued. Insurance of federal notes. These are natures of obligation. I hope that makes sense, because I believe I explained that perfectly. Understand, bills. The more bills you have, the more accounts payable you have. Now, if it was your business that issued the bills, this is going to be credit on your account. Now, once the bills have been paid in full, the accounts payable will be decreased with a debit entry. I hope that makes sense. All a bill, listen, so here's another definition. A bill is considered a bill payable, and it's a document which shows the amount owed for goods or services received on credit, meaning it's not paid at the time the goods or services are received. You go buy something with they tell you have to debit your account to get the cash. Anytime you issue credit, you just gave somebody a loan. I hope that makes sense. It's either debits or credits. Accounts payable or accounts receivable. It's really two things. You follow me? So accounts receivable, these are all records, okay? Notes or for record keeping. Accounts receivable are the balance of money due to a firm for goods or services delivered or used but not yet paid by the customer. This is how you get credit. And you got to think about it. If the United States is a corporation, it's under bankruptcy, so many trillion. But they're one of the richest countries in the world. Think about it. Credit. Everything's operating off credit. It's pretty a simple process when you start to understand it. But all it is balancing the book sheets. That's all it is. Now understand, a bank will not sign a loan. And here's why. Because endorsement means a signature other than that of a signer. And this makes you the acceptor. So whoever signs it or endorses it, they become the acceptor. So they accepted the document. Dropping a lot of game right now. I got class, Shopify class. I'm going to show you how to get this credit, create these businesses, create multiple businesses. You can have them interact with each other. Get credit on that. That's February 24th. Cash App, the Don Kalam. Put hashtag game in the memo box in your email address so I can send you to the class. Make sure you check your spam box too. It's going to come from mynewnetwork.org. But I'll make sure to resend it to everybody who hasn't checked the email. I'm going to drop game on that class, and I'm going to open it up for discussion. It might be a little late, though, if you're on the East Coast. But yes, liabilities. Somebody said liabilities. Accounts payable is a liability. That's what you owe. Start looking up law merchant, the powder courts or the pie powder courts. That's where a lot of stuff started when it comes to what I'm talking about in the Bills of Exchange Act. Learn about a court of satisfaction. A lot of people don't know about the REMIC either. But the law of the 12 tables, that's Roman law. That's where things started to get codified. This is the earliest written legislation of ancient Roman law. You hear legislation, you hear governor. The way everything's set up is still Roman law. It's a form of Roman law. That's why Latin is still utilized in all the practices that they do, all right? There's special names for these things. The Republic is called the Roman Republic. They utilize this too. But when utilizing, this is why I say we don't authenticate the birth certificate. Understand jurisdiction, how to get jurisdiction. A certificate makes you a shareholder, all right? And shareholders are given rights. But you got a baptismal certificate that gives you a whole different jurisdiction. But the Catholic Church is considered ecclesiastical provinces. And ecclesiastical province is one of the basic forms of jurisdiction in Christian churches and Catholic churches, okay? And this is for, and it strictly says Western Christianity. All right? Now, it's called diocesan Dioceses or whatever in Catholic Church, dioceses, I can't say it right. You follow me? Diosesses. Now these are the jurisdictions, and I'm telling you, Muslims have their own. I talked about this too. The Nation of Islam most definitely has their own, and the Moors used to, but they switched over to a lot of nonprofits without going private. You gotta go 508c1a first. Then with the Catholic Church, they also have the Rota, R-O-T-A, the Roman Rota, and that's a tribunal. Catholic churches have their own type of, they have their own schooling, first of all, and then they have their own attorneys and own canon law school, okay? Jewish work the same way, and so do Amish people. Amish people is a little different. They're a little bit more private. Now, you can even look it up. In the public definition, it's going to say American Indian tribes. When it comes to Indian tribunal systems, they do have their own courts. And this came in effect. The Indian Reorganization Act in 1935 recognized the right of tribes to enact their own laws and establish their own formal tribal courts. They're not going to accept you if you have an authenticated birth certificate. Hey, I'm Choctaw looking ass. Think about it. You can get access to a lot of different things. They just gave Ukraine some more money because y'all don't want to claim your estate. Now,